The GOP has proposed cutting $130 billion from domestic agencies in fiscal 2024, and conservatives will like to see future growth of these accounts capped at 1% per year. So although Joe Biden has criticized the Republican proposal back in 1975, Biden introduced a proposal that would have ceased funding for all federal programs, including Social Security and Medicare, unless they were authorized by Congress. In fact, Biden's bill was the first so-called federal sunset bill, something that the president boasted about in his 78 re-election campaign for the Senate. Biden has also attacked Republicans, saying the Republicans want to cut 2 entitlement programs and raise the retirement age to 70. But the White House vowed to support any increase in retirement age on any future negotiations with Republicans, even though Biden himself once proposed raising the retirement age as life expectancy went up. But according to CNN News, in 2005, Biden in one exchange pushing back against plans to partially privatize Social Security. He said he was open to discussing the benefit cuts to guarantee the solvency. But the White House posted and pointed to past Biden votes in the 80s, which extended to the solvency of Social Security, to say that the president has always been a champion for the program, along with his endorsement from the National Committee to Preserve Social Security. But the White House has not proposed any long-term fixes to this program, so people are having several concerns about this. We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on this important stimulus information. Americans are expected to receive at least one more direct deposit of stimulus money, and it's important to find out if your state is offering some pay for you too. Americans in some parts of the country are getting extra cash to help offset still blistering inflation, with several states offering financial relief to residents grappling with higher food, gas, and rent. The governor even signed a bill that will give people of Georgia a special state income tax refund. That means you could soon see up to $500 in your bank account, and people who file tax returns in both 2021 and 2022 are eligible to receive the money, which the Department of Revenue will start issuing in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And taxpayers must file their taxes before they can get a refund. Single tax filers and married people who file separately will get $250. Married people who file joint returns will get $500 based on an individual's or couple's tax liability. Most refunds will be issued by July 1st as long as you file your taxes before April 18th. And the money comes from more than $1 billion in surplus from the state's funds directly. And the Idaho Tax Commission has been distributing rebates to qualifying residents since last fall. These rebates are automatic payments worth $300 and $600 for couples. They can be worth up to 10% of 2020 income taxes, or whichever amount is greater. The agency has already laid out about 75,000 payments weekly and expects to send about 800,000 payments worth up to $500 million by the end of March. To be eligible for the rebates, taxpayers who were required to file tax returns by December and be full-year residents for both 2020 and 2021 haven't done this. And although the deadline to file taxes isn't until next month, residents have already filed their taxes in hoping of collecting a refund long before April hits. Millions of Illinois residents are expected to receive an income tax rebate from the state over the next several weeks. Illinois lawmakers and leaders announced the first wave of tax rebate checks that were mailed out last year as part of the Family Relief Act in a one-time $2 billion plan.
Go to advancingAmericanFreedom.com. You'll see we spent a lot of time on it. Our organization has actually spent the better part of $10 million already in the last 4 months.
In Dr. Shah's position are often put in front of the media, and they have 12 seconds to respond to very difficult issues. And meanwhile, people are reading social media, and they're hearing this study and that study, and people say, what the hell is going on? So I hope we'll have a few minutes to get into a little bit more depth about some of the very serious issues surrounding COVID. Let me begin, and by the way, many of the questions that I'm going to ask Dr. Shah came from Facebook. We asked people to come up with, ideas that were on their minds.
Everyone, $200 bonus checks are being sent out right now to millions of Americans, and new financial assistance has been approved for low-income households. More and more people are showing their support for new inflation relief checks. And here is some big news. The New York governor has also announced that New York families on public assistance can expect an additional boost to their wallets this month to help cover back-to-school costs. The one-time payments come as inflation has tightened households' budgets across the country, making the annual shopping trip for notebooks, pencils, and backpacks a greater financial burden, particularly for low-income families. State officials begin distributing the money this week. Families on public assistance will receive $214 for each of their children. For each child of 3, families will receive $150. Public assistance provides cash to low-income families for up to 6 months who may have trouble meeting basic needs like housing. The extra help could provide some relief for families who had also benefited from the expanded child tax credit, which provided extra money to more families with children. The Rhode Island governor announced this week a one-time child tax rebate for families that will begin rolling out this fall. According to the governor, the rebate includes $250 per child for up to 3 children in a household and will automatically be sent to eligible families starting in October without any separate applications needed. Some 115,000 Rhode Island households are expected to receive the check. The governor told reporters, "Our administration is committed to targeting tax relief to Rhode Islanders as we continue to build on our state's economic momentum. Supporting parents and their children with Rhode Island's new child tax rebate is a sensible and critical way to grow our economy." The policy was established everybody in the 2023 fiscal year. It will be administered by the Rhode Island Division of Taxation. The move comes amid skyrocketing inflation and stubbornly high gas prices, affecting many parts of the country. And now this is awesome news, as I know many people are currently struggling with inflation, especially with the rising cost of living. The State House Speaker has also noted that the state had a budget surplus and received federal funds to help pay for the program. To be eligible, individual filers in Rhode Island must earn $100,000 or less, and joint filers must earn $200,000 or less. Additionally, each resident must have claimed at least one child under the age of 18 as a dependent by December 31st, 2021 on income taxes.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the following Joint Committee on Taxation analysis that shows that families earning $75,000 to $100,000 are 4 times more likely to have a tax hike under this bill than a tax cut.
Without objection.
Thank you. I'm proud to yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Kustoff.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. I thank the ranking member. Madam Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to what the Democrats called the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really the Inflation Expansion Act. Americans are grappling with an economy in recession and the highest inflation that we've seen in 40 years. We're experiencing worker shortages, empty grocery shelves, and higher energy prices. Now congressional Democrats are doubling down on this out-of-control spending that led to this economic crisis. This package that we're voting on today will raise taxes on hardworking middle-class families. It'll authorize 87,000 new IRS agents to target individuals and small businesses. It'll reduce life-saving healthcare innovation by allowing the government to impose price controls on drugs. It'll hurt energy producers, and it'll certainly worsen inflation. I'm voting against this fundamentally flawed and defective package because families, farmers, and small businesses across West Tennessee and across the nation